guys, so in this one we're going to do a little bit of palette knife work. Now I brought back the canvas we did the cross hatching little video on because we're going to just get going on this one. Maisel. So with our palette knife, the way I do mountains is a little bit different than, you know, good old Bob Ross. It's the same as Rob Boss though. That's because he uses oil paint. We're using acrylic. So we can still get the same sort of technique and same sort of textures off of it, but acrylic paint is a little bit different than oil paints. Maybe at some point we'll go into a couple little videos with some oil paint for you guys, just for you. We'll see. Maybe I'll do those for my own studio. So the way I do mountains or some palette knife work with acrylic paint is I always start off with a really thin layer of black. That gives us a little base to work on. So I pick up paint on the side of my palette knife. Now I'm going to keep moving this because I don't want the acrylic paint to drip off of here. So I pick it up on the side of the palette knife. Then we're going to lightly put this on and start scraping it down. Now with the black, we don't want it very thick, so we can press pretty hard and just scrape it down. But let's put a nice little mountain in here. So I'm going to lay my palette knife down, still on a little bit of an angle, and we're going to start dragging that paint. So you can hear it. I am pressing pretty hard on here. Up a little bit more. And we'll put another little mountain in here. Again, it's just playing with what that palette knife can do. If you don't have a palette knife, don't worry. You can also use even just a strip of cardboard. When I first started palette knife work and playing around with that, I actually went through my kitchen drawers and I grabbed a cheese knife. It was awesome. I still use that at home for my own little paintings whenever I'm doing some palette knife work. It's just a metal cheese knife. It's got a nice edge on it. It's got a bend in it. So we're just scraping that paint in. Let's bring this guy all the way down to the edge. I'm not too worried about these lines being perfectly straight. I won't be too worried about it on our next coat either, because it's mountains. We're pressing fairly hard. You can see that canvas moving. Now we're going to use this canvas for a few other things and a few other little videos. Just because I find the scenery ones, you get a lot of different techniques in it. There we go. And that's our black. So that's the start of our mountains. That's just a thin first coat. Now we don't need it completely dry before we do our second coat, where we're going to add some texture. Just wipe off that palette knife real quick there. Now when you're adding texture into the mountains with a palette knife, you always need a light side and a dark side, because the way the sun would come from either this side or from this side depends on which side of your mountain is lighter, which side is darker. Does that make sense? I think so. I think I explained that already. And then we got to figure out which mountains we want in the front and which ones we want in the back. So I think this big guy, we'll put part of him in the front. We'll put part of this one in the front. So I'm going to start off with the dark sides first. So I'm going to have our sun coming in from this side, which means the right-hand side is going to be our dark side of the mountain. So I'm still going to have a little bit of black. Now I always throw a little bit of blue into the dark side of my mountains as well. So I've got a little bit of blue and a little bit of white. Just so we got all of them on there, okay? Now you're gonna see me going back and forth to this plate numerous times. We're just gonna pick up more of those colors and keep going back and forth. This time when we do it though, we are going to press lighter. There we go, I got a little bit of everything on there. We're not gonna press as hard. With the black, we were really kind of scraping it in there. With this, we wanna leave a little bit more paint on the canvas. All right, there's the dark side of that mountain. Now remember, I'm gonna put this guy in front, so I'm not too worried about that right there. Let's get this dark side of the mountain. Little bits of paint, not scraping very hard. There's another dark side. And we'll do this guy right here. Now every time you do this, it's gonna look completely different. Like completely different. Every time I do it, it's going to be completely different. That's one of the things I like about the palette knife is you kind of just have to practice, play with it. You can do this with other colors as well. I find the blue just kind of stands out, gives it a nice little look. But we want the textures in there. So now down here I am just tapping my canvas, so I'm not really scraping it. Light little taps. Get some more texture into it. And I always prefer to do the dark sides first, then we can move on to the light sides. There's the dark side of 3 mountains. I'm gonna wipe my brush off again. For the light sides, I'm still gonna be picking up a little bit of black, but this time we're just picking up more white. There's a fly that just went by on the camera. Sorry, we're gonna be picking up little bits of black, but we're gonna be picking up more white. That's what I'm trying to say. There we go, so I got some black and white in there. Again, little bits at a time. I'm gonna start with this guy over here, because he's gonna be in the back. Then we're gonna bring this one forward, and this one forward. So, same sort of technique, nice and light. We can do a little bit of tapping. A little bit of dragging. No wrong way to do this. We're adding texture. Texture to these mountains. I just want that side to be a little bit lighter than our dark side. let's move on to our next mountain. Same thing. Get some white and some black. We don't really want like a too sharp of a line where our light side and our dark side meet. A little bit of tapping in there. And then we got to take this guy in front. So I am moving my palette knife a whole bunch in a bunch of different directions. Just to get different angles on it. Get some tapping. There we go. See how we're not covering our first coat of black solid. We're letting some of it kind of shine through. Here's our second mountain. Now I'm going to take this little guy and I'm going to bring him in front as well. And you can do this any way you want. The mountains don't have to be in order like I'm doing here, where it's in the back and then forward and forward. Adjust that however you want. I'm only doing that right now because it's easier for you to see. Same thing, we got to take this guy, he's got to go in front. A little bit of tapping, a little bit of dragging, just to get the texture. Sorry, I had a little glitch there, guys. So we're just getting rid of that little line, just so it doesn't look too straight. And then same with this one, little taps. And that's how we do mountains. Lots of texture. You can keep playing with that however you like. But that's the basics for a palette knife, adding mountains, and just getting that texture in there. I hope you like that one. I am going to use this canvas for a few other things as well. I'm just going to keep building this one on some of these instructional videos. I think we're going to put some happy little clouds in there, and then maybe some trees and some blending. So you guys will see a lot from this canvas. Thank you very much.